another edition of the Master Debate. Brian Stackpole,
Nick Netto.
as we will now go into the illustrious world of cartoon imagery
Yes.
for two favorites of ours, Rugrats, which is Nick's side,
Hello.
and mine, Doug. Should be a fun one.
It should be. I like this one.
It's
because it's both cartoons that we watch.
It's one that's both near and dear to my heart. I think that it's going to be an interesting one. So we'll see how it all plays out. I think we're both we got some research, but I think a lot of us are just kind of going on passion on this one. So this will be an interesting one, to say the least. Like most of them are. They're interesting, I hope. Nick, I'm going to let you start off this time around.
Stop. You stop.
You get it this time
Hey,
around.
dude,
Congrats.
by the way, as always,
Yeah.
so great to
It's so
to
nice
do
to
this.
see you. It's
I'm like we're in like this
Wow.
new studio we've never been in before.
I think it's the same one. Pretty sure. Same camera angles.
Don't know
as
where I am.
last week too, but you know.
Rugrats.
Rugrats.
Ba, 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 ba. That's all I'm gonna do. It ran from August 11th, 1991 to August 1st, 2004.
Yeah.
That came out before I was alive. But I remember Saturday morning, I'd go into the fridge, I'd grab a nice big glass of chalky milk, and I'd go and I'd just watch Rugrats. I'd watch all of it. Chucky, Tommy, Phil, Lil, Angelica, Dill Pickle, who my best friend is actually named off of someone from the Rugrats, Tommy's brother.
Is he really named after?
They're legit,
Okay.
actual, complete legitimateness. Brian can fact check, but it was a show on Nickelodeon. Who even had a spinoff. It did so well. Had spinoff. It was all grown up. They had not one movie, not two movies, but technically three movies if you talk about the Wild Thornberry mixed in one where they did that. Which is
That
dope.
existed?
Yeah.
Gross.
I'm not even, and I saw that in theaters. I'm not sure how many movies Doug has, but I don't think it had any. I could be wrong though. Rugrats is something I watched for a long time, longer than I probably should have. Tommy reminds me of a Indiana Jones style character, always leading the way. Chucky was the reserved kid, but he was also the oldest of the group besides Angelica. And he would not be afraid to step up when he needed to be. Phil and Lil, they were crafty. They had the brother-sister dynamic. And then obviously you have Dill Pickle, who's the baby, and they were always trying to protect. But he didn't get introduced till after the first movie, which the movies are great, by the way. But I think, and also, just to say something,
Yeah.
has a reboot coming out.
They're rebooting it? Ugh.
On Paramount, 2021. Comes out this year. They already have a trailer for it.
Not looking forward to that. All right.
Did I say I was done? I'm done.
I thought so. First and foremost, Nicholas, it's an honor to see you again.
Brian, I'm so glad you said that because I was thinking the exact same thing.
And no offense to our mutual friend, Lynn. Dill Pickle, not a great character. Kind of was the downfall of Rugrats, is when they start adding new members, because then you see, then Chucky's dad remarries. And
the French girl from the second movie,
Then you get the
dude.
French movie. It's just, there's too much. They work too much, and that's the problem here. And one of the main reasons why I'm going to be talking about why Doug is the superior show. As a kid, and as someone who actually lived through the whole duration of both Rugrats and Doug, because I've lived through it all, Nick. I've lived through it all. You might not have been born by the time Rugrats started, but I was, and I was watching it from a very young age. And the same thing with Doug. Fun fact is they actually started roughly the same time.
Really?
Almost identical start times, both on Nickelodeon and becoming a new cartoon venture. But the thing about Doug, and the reason why it's a better show, and it's a little bit more timeless, I'm not going to say that Rugrats isn't a good show, but because he's not a child, it's not a little small kid, you can enjoy it a lot more than you can the Rugrats. Because Rugrats, eventually, you're just watching little babies talk the whole time. And first of all, the pretense of Rugrats, I mean, kids can't talk, not at that age. How old's Tommy? He needs to grow some hair, by the way.
Oh, shit.
He's bald still?
He doesn't all grown up.
And another reason why, I'm going to get to that in the rebuttals. Don't Don't worry about that.
Okay.
But that's completely asinine. But anyways, just back on the root cause, the root thing of Rugrats. You have this guy, you have these characters and everything else. Doug is a more grown-up version. It grows with you a little ways because you understand it's kind of like an adolescent kid, a little younger, kind of non-age distinctive. So you can kind of grow with Doug a little bit on the way. And it's such a good character. I will say Doug is follically challenged, but you know what? He's still a good guy. He's a good-natured guy. He has the same problems we do. He has a love interest in Patty Mayonnaise. Awesome name, by the way.
Mayonnaise.
Tommy Pickles is a good name, but Doug Funny, Patty Mayonnaise, great name. Skeeter Valentine. Look, I got Skeeter here too.
Whoa!
Skeeter, yeah. He's great, and he's blue. He's diverse. What's the one thing about Rugrats is they're not super diverse early on.
Number one.
As well.
Sorry.
What other TV show has a blue guy in it? Like, look at him. He's blue, damn it.
Got me there.
So that is just some of the stuff. And on top of that, you have Roger Klutz, another great name. He's sort of the foil against Doug Funny, but he's not his relative. Another reason why I look at it, when you're talking about a show, Doug is a guy growing up through school and dealing with all the adversities. He's not a baby dealing with baby problems that no one can relate to after they're not a baby anymore. And our babies actually watching TV, really? But adolescents are watching cartoons at that age, and they can understand the plight of Doug Funny. And the other thing, Angelica is pretty much the bad person. She's the foil in Rugrats, and she's Tommy's cousin. Right? Family attacking family. That's not a good sign, man.
Whoa.
Doug is just picked on by Roger because of Roger's insecurities, and you actually learn a lot more from Doug overall than you do from Rugrats. I'm just going to put that out there. Plus, not only that, you have freaking Pork Chop. Pork Chop, baby.
What does Pork Chop sound like?
He's an awesome, awesome dog.
What does he sound like?
I can't even remember. I watched it a few years back, but
Okay.
You got a Pork Chop?
No, I was hoping you did because.
No, I don't think I think it was like kind of like a little dog sound. Didn't really make much noise.
Kind of like Blue's Clues.
A little bit, yeah. But that is basically the synopsis there of Doug and why it's such a superior show. Feel free to rebut.
1998. I was 3 years old, mind you.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this movie in theaters. The Rugrats movie. One of the best movies I've ever seen in my entire life.
Are you serious?
Absolutely serious.
At the time?
Right now.
Oh.
It was so good. Great sound. I am Reptar, hear me roar. I am Reptar, the king of dinosaurs.
Doesn't even rhyme. It didn't rhyme that well, the way you sang it.
So they had 3 movies, like I said. The Rugrats movie, Rugrats in Paris, the movie, which is where Chucky got a sister and a new mommy, who are, I believe, Asian?
I think so, yeah.
And Rugrats Go Wild, which is the Wild Thornberry. I also remember, very distinctively, a lot of Rugrats video games. Rugrats, The Search for Reptar, Rugrats Studio Tour, Rugrats Scavenger Hunt, Rugrats in Paris, the movie, Rugrats Totally Angelica, Rugrats Totally Angelica Boredom Busters, Rugrats Go Wild, and All Grown Up. They had a huge video game library. That was rude. Did you hear the truck?
Yeah.
They didn't. There was a truck. Anyway.
You're so flustered you can't even make these. You're just rattling off names of video games you never played.
Because when I looked it up, Brian, I was just confused. If you're debating Doug and how good Doug was, why didn't Doug get the same treatment that the Rugrats did? Before you even think about opening up that flap you call your mouth, think about why Rugrats was so successful. It taught these lifelong lessons that teamwork is how we grow up. We grow up learning that teamwork is a necessity of life. Tommy, one of the greatest leaders of all time. When I think of leadership, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Tommy Pickles. Stop. Please, hold on. And when I think of the evil characters, the three that come to my mind: the Grinch, the Grim Reaper, Angelica. The best mascots of all time: Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, Reptar. All of those together, and Nickelodeon made that. Rugrats brought Nickelodeon from the slum. It was living in the slums, bruh. To big time Hollywood pictures. No, don't even talk. I'm not done yet. Now I'm done.
You're so outlandish. Gandhi and Tommy Pickles, Reptar being up there with Mickey Mouse. That's outlandish. This is ridiculous. The movies were awful. I'm not going to lie. They were stupid. They were pointless. It didn't really teach you anything. There's no leadership. They just got in trouble. They were babies that were mischievous babies. Chucky was a wuss. He didn't do anything. Phil and Lil were just troublemakers. Tommy was always just overreaching. Angelica was actually the wise one and the smart one, trying to get him back into line again, but she used her power for evil and everything else. Well, again, Doug is about trying to overcome your fears. They also have episodes where one of the characters would lose their money and they would talk about having all this wealth and then having to deal with it and not worrying about what other people think. There's actually true good messages to Doug and everything else. And the reason why they didn't have to go to all these movies, Nick, is because they didn't need to get bogged down. The product was so good. We don't need video games to prop things up. We don't need movies to prop it up. We got great content. And they were so ingenious, Nick, that they invented different things that still last the time today. Do you know something about Quail Man, my man? Quail Man, Nick? How about Quail Man?
What about him?
He's a superhero. They developed their own sort of Marvel universe with Quail Man. And it was just something that anyone could do. You couldn't be Tommy Pickles unless you had a diaper. All you had to do was put on some whitey tighties, get a cape from a towel, and put a belt on your head, and you were Quail Man. It was something for kids to be able to go through and be able to be a superhero that wasn't unrealistic, like a six-pack ab of Batman or whatnot, or trying to be like a superhuman, like Superman. Quail Man was just a normal, everyday person. And to the next point, great music. Nick, they created the Beats. Have you ever heard of the Beats?
Are you asking?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an incredible band, right? The music. I know it was only for this stupid cartoon show, but the music.
Stupid cartoon show.
Is pretty good. The music stands the test of time. And I'm not just even talking about the Beats music, but like banging on a trash can. A legit song. I can listen to that stuff today. I wish Doug put out an album because it would be a #1 album. Rugrats doesn't really have those kind of songs that were made up like Doug. Doug with the Beats, some of the other various songs they were able to develop.
They have a whole original soundtrack for the movies.
Original soundtrack's a little bit different. I'm talking about like just the music that they built up within Doug, my man. Doug. Like I would buy the Beats greatest hits. And I would listen to it all the time.
So
it was that good.
So would Dwight Schrute.
Yes. Yes, he would.
I can't believe you called Doug's stupid show.
No, I didn't say it was a stupid
You
show.
did.
I was just saying like a cartoon show should not traditionally
Teacher
have its
Brian,
own music.
When you're editing this,
I don't think it should have its own music, but I'm just saying like normally it shouldn't have it. But this is one of the situations where I would love it. I would die for a Beats album.
If people love Doug so much, it would be getting a revival.
Who says it's not?
I do. I did the research.
Is it?
It's not.
Are you sure?
I am positive. But Rugrats is. Rugrats, I cannot believe you would say, and I'll tell you before I get on to my point, let me go ahead and tell you who did the whole underwear and cape thing better. Captain Underpants. 10 times better. Rugrats had made up in their own universe the best toys of all time. Cynthia, dude. You talking about Cynthia? You gonna tell me Cynthia isn't cool? When I grow up, I hope my kid gets to play with this Cynthia. I can't believe you would shit on kids like that. Brian, I can't believe you would do that to kids.
What's the dog's name?
Spike.
Okay. I was testing you. I wanted to see if you
Dude,
could get it.
you can ask me almost anything. Ask me.
What's the other color of Reptar other than green?
Purple.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Okay. I also have the trivia pulled right up here in front of me,
Right.
but I also have watched the show for a long time. I'm going to end with this, and then I'll be ready for my closing argument.
Okay.
Dr. Lipschitz, possibly one of the greatest doctors of our generation, has his own boat, Brian. Look at me. Look at me over here real quick. Has his own boat. Name somebody in the Doug universe that has their own boat. I'm waiting.
They definitely do.
Dr. Lipschitz. You just tell me who has a cruise ship in the Doug universe.
I'm pretty sure they do.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Let me find it up.
All right. And in the meantime, I just want to say a couple things. Rugrats is the best, no matter what Brian comes up with. It will never even be as close to good as Rugrats is. Rugrats actually paved the way.
BB Bluff. Her family was so uber rich. They had mansions on top of mansions. So BB Bluff's family definitely had a boat. I'm pretty sure they actually
But
had a boat
is
in one of
there-
the episodes. Yeah,
But was it a
pretty sure.
cruise ship, though?
Pretty sure. And why is a psychiatrist having a cruise ship, by
He's
the way?
not a psychiatrist. He's a doctor, Brian. Get it right. He didn't earn a doctorate to be called a psychiatrist.
He's still a psychiatrist.
Sorry,
and
sorry.
why are they getting so much psychiatry? I thought this was supposed to be a loving family and everything. They need to
It's
go
not.
through.
It's a beat. It's.
They need to go
it's-
through these self-help stuff. Like there's some issues here. Nick, I'm going to ask you some questions. Is the new Rambo good? Is that a good movie?
Yes.
Okay. The new Indiana Jones movie, The Crystal Skulls, is that good? Is that a good movie?
No.
What about the new Star Wars movies? Were those exceptional compared to the first original three?
Yes.
The new three is as good as the original
The Rise
three?
of Skywalker, The Last Jedi, and The Force Awakens. Yes.
You're wrong. False. Fake news. I'm just going to put it out there. Just because they're redoing something doesn't mean it's good. It just means they're trying to get some money. I mean, honestly, right? Can we call a spade there? Gonna
Second
put that out
time you've
there.
used this. Use that saying.
But that's it's honestly like you can bring stuff back, and I would say Doug is more even sought after. And I think one of the reasons why you're not seeing a Doug reboot is because it was so sought after. It ran on Disney and Nickelodeon. Disney was so impressed with Doug, they said, "Hey, I want Doug too. Get me some Doug." It was on ABC, Disney, and Nickelodeon, my friend. That's how sought after the old Dougster was and how much people wanted it. So, thank you, my friend. It's so sought after that they had to. And probably one of the reasons why it's so hard to license currently. You can have your closing statement, you son of a gun.
1 second.
What are you waiting for?
I think you should have your closing statement first.
No, I'm waiting for you. You were the closing
I
statement.
also think Rugrats is on Disney.
I don't think it was.
I think it was.
I'm pretty sure it was. You do your closing statement.
you
I'll do
look
the research,
that up.
and I'll be honest if it was.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the people that we are debating to, I'm going to move my mic so it might sound weird now that we got that out of the way. When I was a kid, I'd like to model myself after people I idolized. There's nobody I idolize more than Tommy Pickles, a hero, a visionary. And when he grew up, his mom and dad were so proud of him for always protecting his brother. He was there when people needed him. Tommy was the hero. The whole story is just about this baby that is so much more than a baby. So I want you to look to your left, look to your right. Find a baby and just look at it and say, "You are my hero." And I think when you realize that most babies are just like Tommy Pickles, you'll be on Team Nick. And that's all I need to say. Brian, I'm awaiting your answer.
All I can see here on the Wikipedia page, it was a release on Nickelodeon. If they did anything with Wild Thornberrys too, it would have had to stay with a Nickelodeon property because that was also a Nickelodeon property. So,
I rest my case.
So it never went to Disney, unlike Doug, who did because it was so sought after. When you're talking about something you want to enjoy and watch, you want to be able to relate to it a little bit. I mean, some things you're not going to relate to. Like, I'm not going to be flying in a Millennium Falcon when I'm watching Star Wars, and that's okay. But when you're watching some shows and there's a contrasting debate between one or the other, I do kind of want to hedge towards one I can relate at least a little bit to. So in that scenario, Doug is the better thing. Because honestly, you're talking about babies or people who are adolescents. I don't remember what my life was as a baby. I don't know about Nick. I'm sure he didn't, as he was a 1-year-old baby causing trouble, pooping his pants like he still does today. Fun fact, that happened.
Rude.
They didn't have to sully themselves with stupid movies. They had good storylines. They were ingenious. The names even better. I love the Phil and Lils of the world, the Angelica, the Tommy Pickles. They're great names.
Chucky Finster.
But when you can't even say that Skeeter Valentine, Doug Funny, Patty Mayonnaise, Pork Chop, Roger Klutz, BB Buffet. Like, think of those. Those are some really dynamite names. And it was just such a great show that I can still watch today. I can watch a Rugrats show and I'm going to feel weird and it doesn't hold up as well.
Why would you feel weird?
Doug holds up better today than Rugrats does. Still today, because it's about young adults trying to find their way in this world. And it's got a good positive message that I think a lot more people can relate to.
Well, it's what the audience thinks.
It is.
So they can vote.
And they can vote as well, as long as it's voting for my side, because Doug is definitely the way to go, right?
Doug is
Am
dog.
I right?
Doug is dog shit.
Doug. Pork chop, pork chop, pork chop, pork chop, pork chop.
I just want an audio clip of you being like pork chop.
Pork chop. Patty Mayonnaise. Patty Mayonnaise. She's cute too. You probably had
She's
a crush on her.
underage, Brian.
You probably had a crush back in the day, didn't you? Yeah, I know what Nick's about. Nick was like, "Oh, Patty was my jam. Patty was my jam." But that's gonna do it for this edition of The Master Debate. We will be back next week. Make sure to follow us along on social media as well to make your voice heard and let us know who you thought had the better debate.
Me.
Tommy Pickles. What a rabble-rouser he was. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. For Nick Netto, I'm Brian Stackpole saying peace.
Goodbye.